All right, everyone, welcome to the first edition of the Brother and Sister podcast. I'm the brother, she's a sister, and we're here to ask her some questions and see if we can get into some conversations about life in general or anything that we can get into. I have a couple questions I'm going to ask her, and we're going to see where it goes from there. Introduce yourself, Ian. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. My name is Ina. My actual name is Alfonsina. My parents really butchered our names. Frank.
My name is Frank Carlos, by the way. Yes.
The two names really just together, and then I was supposed to be a boy, and so it was supposed to be Alfonso, but it actually turned out a girl. So they went with Alfonsina. No white person can really pronounce that name. So for everybody to be able to recognize. Ina was it. But yes, I am 32 years old, living in Lakeland, Florida. I have a cute little chihuahua. I love animals, and yeah, that's pretty much about myself. I'm a Cancer. No, I'm kidding. I'm not
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that actually, because that's one of the questions that I have for you.
Gotcha.
Now, these are general questions that I wanted to ask you that guys like me are interested in finding out, and girls that are around my age, because we have a difficult time understanding how women work sometimes, and the different things that that men and women have in common are different in men and women. So these are questions about that or about your own personal life, and we're going to get into it. And if there's anything you don't want to answer, that's fine. But try to answer as much as you can and be as open about it as you possibly can be. All right?
Of course, absolutely. You want the woman's perspective. I get it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so first question I have for you today. Oh, by the way, Michelob Ultra, yes, sir. What are you drinking, Ina?
I am drinking real sangria. Real cheap is what it is. $7 at the store. But no, it's really good actually. It's super tasty. So sangria, you guys. Cheers.
Cheers. We're not alcoholics, by the way, okay?
No.
I don't want to get that impression.
I'm our first alcohol and I have not stopped drinking, so
all right.
All right,
so let's get into it a little bit. We don't have anyone watching right now, but if anyone wants to pop in and watch, go ahead. That's fine. All right, Ina. So the first question I have for you is, what are some of the red flags that you find in men? When you meet them, when you get to know them, what are some of the red flags that you find that turn you off or make you feel like this guy is not worth my time?
Well, there's a difference, right? I would say like an immediate red flag, like if I'm just like looking at somebody like just based off looks only, versus obviously if I'm getting to know them a little bit. So I'll go with the first one. Immediate red flag to me is a person who has bad hygiene. I'm talking like one of my biggest pet peeves and turnoffs in a guy is like a guy who has like gum under his nails. Someone who just kind of seems disheveled. Like there's a disheveled look that is like kind of still like you're trying but not trying too hard, but just like not put together at all. And that's just going based off appearance. So that would be kind of like a big red flag to me. Other than that though, like there's not really a physical red flag immediately that I would get for a guy. If I'm getting to know him, I think that it would be like a guy who is like rude to waiters. I know that's such a like lame thing, but like I guess the way that guys treat like customer service or people while you're like on a date or something, that is very telling of the kind of person he really is. Another
wait up. I wanted to say hi to our two viewers. Thank you for joining us. Hello. We're doing a Q&A right now on my sister, and this is the first podcast. We're going to do more of these. And I just wanted to say hello. Anything you want to add, just comment, whatever, that's fine. All right, Ina, go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, so big red flag when you're actually getting to know somebody. So yeah, how they are like with customer service people, definitely a big red flag to me. I think that a person who just kind of is cheap all in general. I'm not saying that like going on a date with a guy and expecting the guy to just want his money or anything like that, but definitely somebody who is like kind of like, you know, not willing to, I guess, pay on the first date and stuff like that to me is kind of a red flag if I'm getting, you know, if I'm getting to know him.
Right.
Someone who doesn't really have like a family relationship, who doesn't have like a you know, a good relationship with family, that would be a red flag. So yeah, those would be my immediate red flags, I guess.
Now, I'm not really good with women, and I haven't really had the time to experience a lot of relationships. Unlike you, who's had a lot more relationships than I have, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's all about experience, you know. And you gain more experience the more relationships you have. You know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Now, if you were a guy, what are some of the red flags that you would find in women? So put yourself in a man's shoes. What are some of the things that if you were a guy, you would look at a woman, you would say right away, I don't want that girl, or that girl has some sort of issues that I'm not looking for, in like that I don't want that to be a part of my life. If you can answer that question.
Yeah, I feel like not really. I can't really put myself really in a guy's shoes. I would find it kind of like a red flag if like you're getting to know a girl and she seems to like constantly have like some sort of drama happening in her life. Like I get that people have things going on, you know what I mean? But like if someone's constantly like talking shit about somebody else or constantly like, you know, in some sort of a turmoil and stuff like that, like just kind of like that bad energy and bad vibes, like I feel like that would be a red flag as a guy, to be like, this person has a lot of baggage. And people have baggage, that's totally normal, things happen, totally understandable. But there's like a level of it that screams red flag. Like this is just the kind of thing that you're going to look forward to if you're with this person. So that would be, you know, for starters, that would be it.
I would agree with you with the drama part. I think another part is the way a woman dresses sometimes, you know. If she's a little too provocative in the way she dresses, I think it might come off as something that I don't want to be a part of, just because she may be too slutty for me. But what do you think? Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, but I mean, where's the gauge in that? Because what is slutty to you may not be like, are you super conservative where like a person who's showing a little bit of boobage is like super slutty to you, or are we like, you know what I mean? Like there's a
right
of I don't know, of showy offy type of woman or whatever. So I guess I would want to know, elaborate more on that. Like what is her limit or whatever?
If she's dressed like a lady of the night, if that makes sense, someone who is ready to get into the sack right away, I think.
But that would be what?
Just, you know, showing a lot of cleavage.
Yeah, but I you know, I felt like that myself. I mean, not saying that I do now, but when I was younger, and I would like have like a girls' night out, like I would be dressing in like a short dress and showing some boobage and stuff like that, but I wasn't really like, I mean, I would assume that would be scantily, but that to you, that's just a turn off when you're like out at a club looking for women in general.
Well, if I'm looking for a woman that I want to be with, not necessarily a girl that I want to be with for the night. If it's a girl that I want to be with for the night, then I don't care. I'll take that right away. But if it's a girl that I'm trying to like have a relationship with, I would find that as an issue. Yes.
So okay. So
does that make sense?
Fine. That's totally fine. I mean, I don't agree with that because I feel like, I mean, if you're a conservative person, that's fine. And if she dresses like that often, if that's just how she dresses, like nothing but a whore's like closet, basically, then I get that. But if it's like every once in a while, I feel like that's not terrible. But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine. We agree and we disagree. That's fine. We have both sides. So let me get to the second question here.
Okay.
All right. Do you like competing with other women to get guys? Is that something you're into, or what do you think about that?
No, I don't think. No. Competing with other women, absolutely not. Does it happen? Is the reality of the world that women compete with each other? Absolutely. I don't see it as that. I feel like if there's a guy out there that finds me attractive, they're gonna find me attractive regardless of if there's 1,000 other women that are attractive out there, because I feel like everybody is kind of like, and that's such a cheesy answer, but everybody's special in their own way, and they have like their own unique look and stuff like that. And if you're not like just a horribly ugly looking person, you know, with just like, unfortunate circumstances, I guess, or whatever, like
Right.
you are beautiful in your way, and your personality, and it's more than just the looks anyways that kind of makes up a person. So I feel like it would, yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. I find it harder to compete with guys, because
True at all.
what happened?
I don't feel like that's true at all. I feel like men in the world are literally competing with each other constantly. You don't think so?
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. No, that's what I'm saying. It's just I find it difficult because sometimes I wish I was more attractive or had more to offer a woman. And so it's kind of difficult to compete against certain guys because it's a lot easier for them to like get the girl. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't mind competing. It's not something that I would look forward to doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think like when you talk about competing, you only mention looks. Like there's other things that in a guy that can be competitive. Like, for example, you can talk about looks, definitely. Like there's going to be thousands of guys that are hotter than you, you know, just like there's millions of girls that are hotter than me. But there's also like a guy who has his shit together, like as far as like, you know, maybe like smart with money, or maybe just like a super talented person, or a person who, you know, I don't know, like, you know, different things. I don't know. Somebody who's like emotionally available. Like, I think that's something that you have that you trump a lot of guys on. I think that you have to find, just not you in general, guys and girls, like have to find like their niche almost and kind of roll with that. Because yeah, you may not be like, you know, financially where you want to be at right now. But you're also a lot more like welcoming, and you're emotionally available, and there's a lot of women out there that appreciate that more than a guy who may be like more attractive. Like attractiveness for a person who's looking for like that emotional security, that attractiveness only goes like surface level, you know what I mean? Like it's only like skin deep. So
Okay, but you know what? I have found that guys that are more attractive get more girls. It just is what it is. I don't know how to tell you. It's like I've been out there with guys that are less attractive, more attractive, and it all depends on how attractive you are that you're going to get more girls. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but in like I'm talking about this is like the surface level of it. You know, does that like at first view, a guy that's more attractive is going to get more girls.
Yeah, but you were asking me about like you're talking about wanting to be in a relationship with a person. You're not talking about just getting girls to fuck, because yes, an attractive guy will definitely get the attention, and honestly, they'll get the attention of girls that are younger, because girls that are 25 and older are looking for more substance than that. Like the cute look only works when you're in high school and maybe college. But once you're out of that stage in life, that cute shit only goes so far too. And a girl's looking for more substance, whether that's money, whether that's whatever it is, right? But they're looking for more substance. That whole cute look shit, okay, fine. That can get you a girl to look at you and maybe more attention than the typical guy. But you're wanting a girl that's more serious. And that's definitely not more serious. That's just looking for girls to fuck. Just because you can get girls and just if you can get guys doesn't mean you can keep them. So there's a huge difference there. So yeah.
Once you're in that role, it's like your personality and everything else comes into play as well, right?
Well, yes, of course. But are you saying like that your personality gets better because you're more attractive, or are you saying that
No. I'm saying once you're past that surface level point of whether of the attractiveness part of it. Once you're past that level, what's important is like the personality, what they can offer you, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's more about, I mean, yes, to get a girl's attention, then yes, definitely. You may get a girl's attention. But if you're looking for something serious, then just because you can get a girl doesn't necessarily mean you can keep her. And
Right.
if you're for something serious, then yeah, that's not the end all.
Okay. All right. Next question. What is your sign and what does it mean to you? Do you think your personality matches your sign?
Well, I'm a Cancer. It's kind of lame because yeah, it's horoscope. Although I do think it's legit. Okay, there's a lot of truth to it. I think that definitely my sign. So I'm a Cancer. That's my rising sign, or I'm sorry, that's my sun sign and my moon sign. I know you know nothing of what the fuck I'm talking about.
Explain. Just go into it.
All right, so basically, the day that you're born, you can do it online. I think it is. You can look up what your birth chart is. Your birth chart basically is how the sky looked on the day and time that you were born, depending on where you were born to, because the longitude and latitude, like where you are, located as well. So what the skies look right above you, like as you were being born, and where like the sun was, where Venus was, where the moon went, whatever. And basically it has to break down all that, and it breaks down like what each planet means to our solar system and how that interacts with our personality. So it gets into more of a depth of who you are, not just like, oh, you were born August 12th, so you're Leo. I was born June 22nd, so I'm a Cancer. But yes, I do actually relate a lot to my sign. I do have a lot of my sign in my horoscope chart, so I see it more than once, and it is my moon sign. The sun sign is like your first sign. The moon sign is the one that's supposed to represent who you are inside, or who you want to be, and that's definitely Cancer. So Cancer is basically nurturing, intuitive, super sensitive, all the great qualities that guys.
I agree. I agree.
Yes, that would be me. How about yourself? Do you know anything?
I don't know. I don't know much about my my horoscope. I know that you're into it. That's why I asked you. But would you, in terms of you know me pretty well, would you say that I match my horoscope sign, or am I not really? Does it not match?
Not really. Like, I have read a few things about. So you're a Leo. I don't know what your horoscope chart is, but Leos are very, supposedly, they come across as very kind of like shallowish. They're really about their looks and all that stuff, and like you don't seem that way. To me, like I don't really relate to you and Leo. I don't really see it. So, but it's not something I've looked up, so please nobody get offended, because like these like douchebags or whatever. But you don't come across as a Leo to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's things about it that I just don't understand. But yeah.
Well, I appreciate that you have a good, view on me in terms of like not matching those negative qualities, But I we'll see. I mean, maybe there are some qualities that I do match up with, and not all of them. Maybe some of the better qualities.
Look it up.
Yeah. I'll definitely look that up. And all right, and let's get to the other question. Who should pay on the first date?
That's obvious, Frank. And if you have to ask, you shouldn't be on a fucking date. I'm gonna say you might as well stay the fuck home. Well, it depends, right? Because if you're in a heterosexual relationship versus if you're in like like a lesbian relationship where you're gay or whatever. So I guess that would be different. I wouldn't know what to say in that sense, but in a hetero relationship, it's very obvious it should be the guy. 100%.
Okay. Now we have a listener, and she's asking, her name is Claire Kosh. Me and her are actually friends. And so say hi to Claire. Now she asks, why do girls believe in horoscopes more?
Why do girls believe in horoscopes more? I feel like men are very logic based, and they hear horoscope and they're like, oh, that's some frou shit. Like that's some witchy stuff, like it's magic or whatever. Where like us women, I feel like women have a big sense of like intuition and trying to like figure things out from a more like metaphysical and more like all around sense, like Mother Nature and everything. And like I feel like then we get more into it. And actually, the more into it that you do get, the more you realize it does have a lot to do with a lot of logic. But I don't think that men get past that very quickly. They dismiss it very quickly because of their logical brains a lot of the times. Not that women are illogical. That sounds extremely sexist. But
Sexist. I'm playing.
And don't believe in that bullshit either. So, I
Right.
mean, you get obviously, but I feel like definitely for like the percentage of women versus guys that believe in that, definitely feel like women are definitely more, believers in that, or will be on
I would agree with that as well. I think men are a little more, or have a little more logic in terms of like the way they view the world. I think women are more emotional. That's my take on it.
I don't think so. I think logical brain, I feel like so damn, this is gonna sound super sexist. But
Go for it.
I feel like maybe men have like a one-track mind.
You're right. I agree with that.
Men are more like driven, and there's a lot of women that are driven too. I can be extremely driven if I'm interested in something, but it has to be like an inspiration for me to want to do something. Like it's got to be like that. But that's me personally. But I feel like for majority, I feel like men have a one-track mind, where women, we think of like various things at the same time. I feel like it's in our nature. But then there's men that are like that too, and then there's women that are like that, and then you have like non-binary people. So it's like it can be a mix, definitely. But for the majority, definitely think that guys have that like logical sense, but it's not a logical sense. It's just like that one-track mind kind of thing. No offense.
Okay. No, that's fine. I agree with that. All right, let's move on to the next question. Do you believe in a soulmate,
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. I don't believe that there is like one perfect person for everyone.
Absolutely.
I think you can find several people that can match up with your personality and your situation. So yeah, we both agree on that. So that's a good thing.
So to extend on that or whatever, so I can get into like karmic, karmic, what is it called? Twin flames, karmic flames. Like, there's other things that you meet in life. Like, if you believe in that kind of stuff, that really, if you're looking from a scientific perspective, I feel like when you are a person who was maybe not raised in a middle class or with privilege, you do carry a lot of generational trauma, whether that's because of race, whether that's because of wealth. And I feel like what happens is that you meet people in life, and you might be like, you might connect, but it might be like a trauma bond. And so like that person and you have this like real connection and deep connection and real connection, honestly. But it's based on that trauma bond. And it's like you go through stages in life where like hopefully everyone does, some people don't, unfortunately, but you start to shed that, you know what I mean? And you start to heal and you start to fix. And so you start to sometimes you can do that with a person. You can grow and get grow old together and get better and change and stuff like that. But sometimes you just have to drop the person because it's like it's not working anymore.
Right.
So I think that a lot has to do with like emotional and emotional intelligence, honestly. A lot of it has to do with like interests. And some of it has to do with the right person at the right time, kind of like luck. You know what I mean? Luck has a lot to do with it too, to meet a person. So no, I do not believe in soulmates, because soulmates is almost like it's written in the stars. And I feel like there's a lot of different types of soulmates in your life, that you have to meet people and you have to go through different things in order to meet the person that you may be with for a long time. But do I believe that you can even be with them forever? Probably not. But maybe, who knows? I mean, that's how I.
All right. Good deal. All right. So, and Claire says best match available is the best most of us can do. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So next question. All right. What do you find attractive about men besides, obviously they're men? Uh, and what makes you think, hey, he has a chance?
Hmm. So what do I like physically find most attractive about guys? Or
Yeah, what turns you on in a guy? What makes you feel like, hey, this guy may have a chance to be with me? And you could get into whether, his personality or anything like that that makes you say, hey, that guy might have a chance to be with me. Whether that's looks or just in general, anything that you find that
yeah.
makes you attracted to this person.
So an immediate attraction, like if I'm just going solely based off looks, obviously I'm a tall bitch, so I'm 5'8". So I'm a big bitch. No, I'm a huge bitch. No. So so yeah, there's a lot of, and trust me, like I've dated a lot of short guys too, so no big deal there. But like an immediate attraction is obviously somebody who's like kind of tall. And I like dark hair, typical things, right? Dark hair, dark eyes. One of the attractions, honestly, is kind of like the confidence that a guy has. And you can tell with just the way that they carry themselves, the way that they are just kind of relatable to people, their charisma. I think that's really attractive. So definitely charisma and confidence. Um, and
Okay, so how can a guy be more charismatic to find a girl? Like, what is that something that you learn, or is it something that you just have that natural charisma? Like, is that something that you have to like be taught, or is it something that any guy can have? Or what's your opinion on that?
I mean, I feel like there are people that are naturally charismatic, but I feel like when you're young and you're attractive or whatever, and you get like being a guy or even being a girl, you get the opposite gender or same gender attention. It's easier for you to be able to like, yeah, I don't know, just like make an impression on people and become charismatic. But honestly, I feel like charisma is something that you learn. Unfortunately, some people learn it from bad experiences. Like for me, the people that have been the funniest people in my life have been people that have gone through a shit ton of trauma. Like that's why a lot of comedians are typically people that have gone through some shit.
Oh,
And
that's a great point. That's a great point.
yeah, they're super charismatic. So I definitely think it's like environmentally, like that like how you grew up and shit like that also makes you charismatic. I think it's something that you can definitely pick up though. I don't think, like I said, like you may be born with it, but nobody really is born with it. Like you may be cute when you're super young and you get more attention, so you may be charismatic that way. Emotional trauma can make you charismatic. Being around people that are charismatic also makes you kind of like pick up if you're kind of that person. Something definitely that you can learn. Charisma, as far as like charisma goes, like should I get into what I think charisma is? Like, whoa.
Yeah. Go ahead. Like, what do you think?
So everyone has their different flavor. That's the thing. It's like what I find charming in a person, you may not. Like I typically find guys who are a little bit like what's the word? I'm like pretentious when it comes to like music, or video games or something like that. Like I find those guys like where most people will be like, ugh, like gross. I actually find those guys like charismatic because I think like there's something attractive about that. And so for them to have that confidence and be kind of like, like maybe like pulling some guns, some jokes about it or whatever, I find that charming. But you may not, you know what I mean? So
Right.
again, it's just the kind of person that you are. You can be charismatic. You can learn to be more charismatic. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. Nice. I like your answer, and I definitely have to find that charismatic part of myself, because I feel like I lack that sometimes, where I don't come off as very like charismatic in the sense of like someone who like what's the word like what where you like you leave an impression on somebody. Like yeah. So I want to be that way, where I leave an impression on somebody. Like that person is someone that I definitely want to get to know more because of the way that they act or they react to situations.
Well, first of all, I want to just say this, not because you're my brother, but I feel like you definitely leave an imprint on people. Um, all the friends that we had growing up, all the boyfriends that I've had, the plenty of them apparently that you're saying. No, but I feel like you're definitely you come across what do you call it? Like almost like you're a mediator. You don't try to create waves and stuff like that. You're easy to talk to. And I feel like those people may not be the first ones that you like latch onto. Like a lot of people, obviously the loudest bark gets the most attention a lot of times. But I feel like there's a lot of people that appreciate people like you as well. And so a lot of people that meet you, they like that about you. You just come across like super like they don't feel like they have to put on airs around you. So I feel like a lot of the charisma and everything that you're talking about comes from just like inner confidence and knowing what the fuck you are. Like, you know what I mean? Like you are this person and knowing it and owning it, because it's fine. You're not the biggest like talker in the room. You're not spitting jokes left and right. You may not know about, you know, fucking video games, or you may not know shit about music, but you are who you are. And that's totally fine to be that person, because out there's going to be people that are going to appreciate that. And a person like you, it's easy for a person like you to be anyone's type, or for anybody to feel like you have charisma, because somebody who you don't feel like you have that is judging you, and you can be kind of yourself, you can basically get anybody's attention that way. Somebody who doesn't get what I'm saying, it's just being kind of confident in who the fuck you are. I feel like that's
well, I appreciate that, and you're definitely right. And Claire said Frank radiates integrity, very reassuring. Do you agree with that, or what do you think, Ina?
Absolutely. Integrity is a big one. That's what I'm saying. Like, you seem like such a solid person, not to kiss your ass, but to kiss your ass a little bit.
Yes. Let's move on past me. I don't want to.
But the fact that you're bashful about it, or you don't want to talk about it, is a good, like, that's to me, that's kind of endearing. So you have to be confident in that. That's right. You don't have to be like everybody else. Like, fuck that. You want to be your own person anyways. So. But
all right, Nick. So this is the next question. Do you think knowing how to do your makeup is important in a girl? Do you find a natural look is more attractive? What do you think about the whole makeup thing?
First of all, just to say this, men do not know what the fuck a natural look is. Y'all do not, because men think that women look natural when we have like pounds of makeup on. There's something called a natural look where we're trying to look flawless. And you guys think it's supernatural. Like, you guys think we're not wearing like mascara. Like, trust me, it's not natural. But is it important? If you're a type, it depends on what kind of girl you are, honestly. If you're more into looking androgynous and shit like that, then no, not really. Is it good even for an androgynous person or even a guy to know how to like cover blemishes and shit like that? Absolutely. Because you've had pimple days where you have asked me, hey, I have a pimple, can you cover for me?
Yeah.
Or bags under your eyes, like, absolutely. Those things are great. It's almost like stage makeup. Like, it's great to cover shit up, right? But like, as far as like doing this beautiful professional type of look, I mean, it depends on what kind of girl you are. If you like it, then absolutely more power to you. But if you don't know how to do it, it's not important.
Do you watch makeup videos, Ina? Are you into that type of scene? I know a lot of girls, or some girls. I'm not saying all of them, but some girls are into that type of scene of like looking at makeup videos and learning. Are you interested in that, or are you just like whatever about that type of stuff?
I am half and half. I'm not like super like, I'm not one of these super like makeup-y type of person, but if I am scrolling on TikTok for hours and I see things that interest me, then yeah, I'll pin it or whatever, you know. But yeah, I mean, half and half. Not really super crazy into it, but not like also like unaware that, you know, like if I want to do a really cool look for a New Year's party or something like that, I'll look it up. So
okay, nice. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of girls make their money off makeup videos and stuff. So yeah, you know,
it's art. I like,
I'm
not an artist, but I like to do a little bit of everything. I'm creative. So I definitely feel it's an art, definitely, for sure. And if you can make money off of that, like, fucking more power to you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Ina, good. Let's see. What do you think if a guy has a lot of friends that are girls? Is that a turnoff, or does that make a guy more attractive? in your opinion?
A lot of girlfriends.
Yeah, friends that are girls, not girlfriends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, yeah, friends that are girls. For me personally, no, absolutely not. I feel that unfortunately in our society, it's been stigmatized a lot, like having like opposite gender, like, friendships. I feel that if you're confident in your partner, there should be nothing to worry about. Now, there are obviously some like lines on the sand kind of thing where like there's like going overboard. Like if you're friends with someone and they're a girl and they're being inappropriate, you know what I mean? Like, or making me feel uncomfortable and I have to say something, then that's a different story. But no, I don't feel like that's a problem. I personally don't. No.
Now,
I feel good that you have girlfriends, and
now,
if that's even better. Like women for the most part, even though they say that we women do not support each other, for the most part, women do support each other.
right.
And they'll call you out on your bullshit, and if you're acting like an asshole, they'll call your ass out. If you're not being emotionally like there present, they'll call your ass out. Typically we are going to call men out, and I feel like if you have a bunch of friends that are girls, yeah, they're going to do that, and they're going to probably, you know what I mean? Like, it's a good thing. It's, you want to get a girl's perspective, and a guy who is like open to that, that's great.
Okay, so related to this question, now, if you're a girl and you have friends that are guys, are you afraid that one of these guys are going to end up falling in love with you or wanting to be with you? Or are you like the type of person that's like, well, I have guys that are friends, they're not a problem. Like some of them, some girls have gay friends and stuff. Like I totally get that, but I'm talking about guys that are like that are heterosexual. If
Right.
that makes sense. Think about it.
That one I'm kind of like iffy about. I feel like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's sexist. I feel like it's easier for a girl to be friends with a guy with no strings attached. Like by that I mean like not friends with benefits, but just literally friends.
Friends, yeah.
I feel like it is a little bit harder for girls to be friends with dudes, and I don't know. It just depends. It depends on what platform you mean. Because, I mean, you could be like a Twitch streamer, gamer girl that like makes friends online, and you can have a ton of guy friends. Because when I used to play like Overwatch and stuff like that, I had a bunch of guy friends that were just guy friends. In person, like if I were to hang out with guys and if I felt like any sort of like little bit of a ting of attraction, it honestly it's harder. Yeah. Like I feel like it's harder for them not to start to like.
Does that turn you off to being in a type of like friendship with a guy because you might feel like, oh well, he's gonna fall in love with me, or are you just like, well, you gotta have some friends in life, like
right. As long as boundaries are set, and I feel like as long as you're very open and like clear about your intentions, people can't really help what the fuck they feel. I mean, I have been in situations where like I have not fallen in like, but I have had crushes on people that are kind of like borderline a little inappropriate. So and these are things that can come and go, and it's like something you can't really help. As long as like I'm open with them and I'm like, hey, like we're friends, like I hope you understand that this is not happening, kind of like set those boundaries and stuff like that. I mean, it shouldn't be a problem. I don't think it's a turnoff. It's a turnoff if they start getting like territorial or they start acting certain ways because I am not, taking them off the friend zone, if you will. Yes, that can become a problem, but no, not really. If they start to like me, I mean, shit happens, like whatever, but that's not going to happen. Then
would you stop being friends with a guy just because he likes you?
No.
Or would you just be like, hey, I understand you like me,
right.
but I just don't like you like that. Like we're friends.
Yeah. No, that's definitely how it would be. I like, no, that's fine. You like me, like I like me too. No, but I totally understand why you like me. Like I get it. No. I'm not this confident. I'm so bullshit. But But no, like, yeah, that wouldn't bother me because again, it's like I've had inappropriate like crushes on people too, and shit happens, and it's like as long as you're clear on the boundaries and everything else, we're good. Like if it doesn't bother you, if you'll eventually get over it or whatever, that's fine with me. Whatever.
Okay. All right, Ina. By the way, we're 40 minutes in. I got 9 questions in. Imagine that. Cheers. Boom. Nice. All right. All right. So this next question is: do you think it's important for a guy to ask what's on your mind? Do you find it better for a guy to be random, or for you to know what to expect? So that's a 2-part question. The first part, I'll ask the first part again. Do you think it's important for a guy to ask what's on your mind?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into detail, or like, are you good with that?
So elaborate more on that question. So for a guy to
Well, I'll ask you
say,
the second part, and maybe that'll open up a little bit. Do you find it better for a guy to be random, or for you to know what to expect in a guy?
So it depends, right? With the spontaneity, like, spontaneity when it comes to doing fun things.
Spontaneity, you know, spontaneity, spontaneity. Yeah.
Super smart, dude. But yeah, when it comes to like doing fun things, then like, huh? Can you hear me? Hello. I don't think he's on the air right now, so sorry, guys. Hello?
Wait, are you there? I'm sorry, you cut out. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you?
Oh, okay. The computer, it was lagging. Go for it. Keep going.
As far as like what to expect in a guy, absolutely. Like, so yeah, you want a guy who can be spontaneous from time to time. Because I've had I've had the two parts of that spectrum. So I've had a guy who is super predictable, who is super like but is a super solid person, but they have no life to them at all. So they don't do new things. They're not like open to anything, but it's like, but you get what you get and like you know what they're doing. And it's like there's a security in that. But then like being too much of that is also makes you kind of boring, right? But there's some people that may appreciate that, you know what I mean? Especially if they've had super traumatic life with like not the best types of relationships. However, if you go to the other side of the spectrum where there's like a person who's constantly changing their mind, you don't know where the hell you are, like you're almost like walking on eggshells around this person. I think that a good balance of both of these things is not bad. I think that being too much of one way or another, that's me personally though. That may not be the same cup of tea for everybody else. But for me personally, I want a guy who's a little bit of both. I appreciate it.
I understand that. Now, so I'm gonna ask the first question again and see if like when I mean what's on your mind, I mean like a guy who is open to like knowing about your inner thoughts rather than a guy who's like very unaware of what's going on in your own personal life inside your mind. Like what's important, is that important to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like if you're with a guy, first of all, if you're in a good relationship, I feel like you guys are going to jive and you guys are going to be on the same wavelength, which is great. It's important though to check in on your significant other, whether they're a guy or a girl, does not matter. Just to see what's going on with them. Like that is definitely, I think that's a healthy thing. I think that people that have gone through a lot of like trauma and stuff like that, like have anxious attachments and stuff like that, like they'll like be super clingy about that, so they'll be constantly, are you okay, because they're worried. So I think that absolutely that's maybe a little bit too much for some people. However, I think that it is important for a person, whether you have that trauma or not, for you to check in on your partner and see if everything's okay. You want to make sure you guys are still on the same page or that they're doing okay, because a lot of the times people, and depending on the person too, like they may not be forthcoming about a lot of things, or they may just want to know that you're still kind of like interested in what's going on in their inner world. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I find it very important to be like open and very honest with your the person you're with, regardless whether you're a guy or girl, and get to know them very well and be open about what's going on in their personal life and what's going on in their mind, and get to know each other, because a lot of times you're with somebody for many years and you don't know the person. You don't really know what's going on with them.
Absolutely. It's like having attunement, like an emotional attunement to the person. And that comes from like you asking that and like still being like checking in on a person. You know what I mean? Right. Absolutely. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that should ever stop, actually. I think that's something that, you get in the beginning, and I feel like a lot of us get robbed of that. Like, people are trying to show their best faces when they're starting to get to know someone. And then as the relationship progresses, like, you're not having to like, fight for that person's attention anymore because that person is yours. But they forget that like you have to keep doing these things because a person, the amount of shit that you go through in just one day, or just like, it could just be emotional, it could just be nothing, or it can just whatever, but you want to keep that attunement with the person that you're choose to be with, you know what I mean?
Right. And if you don't have that attunement, then it's like, then you feel like you're not accomplishing whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in the relationship, right? Like something's missing.
Something's missing. That's it. Something's missing. Like there's a big, like you're in your world and I'm in my world kind of thing. And it's like you want to be able to have it, and you don't want to be codependent in a relationship. However, you still want to be attuned to the person. So you still want to know, like give the person space if they need the space, give the person time for them to be able to do things on their own, like not be like overly whatever, but definitely like attuned to their feelings and attuned to what's going on in the world, because that's a person that's like essentially your best friend, your partner for life. It's like a best friend. If you're with a best friend, and I know men are, because of a patriarchal society, honestly, I feel like it's a harder time with other men, like friendship wise, to be able to be like open and like talk about feelings and stuff like that. But I know that women, we're easy at that. We want to know what our friend is up to, like how are they doing, what their parents, everything, right? Because we want to keep that like attunement with them, because that makes you stronger, that makes you bond more, that makes you more, in each other's lives, know each other, feel more like family. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Do you think women have it easier in terms of like, not have it easier, but do you think women are more in tune with that, like being able to be open with their friends rather than guys who are very closed off to like being open with their friend? I mean, do you? You're not a guy, so you probably. I mean, I don't know if maybe you have some sort of experience with guys telling you about how guys are, but guys, we really don't get into like deep personal conversations.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, do you think women have more like more of that like intunement of like getting into deep personal conversations with their friends and everything?
Yeah, definitely. If one of the only things that women have it easy, I'm a super feminist, and I'm really not. Like I'm like very whatever, but I feel like society makes it easier for women in that sense to be open, because we are looked at in a sexist type of way as like super emotional, blah blah blah. So we're not afraid, right, to be open with our friends and be open with our parents, our partners. Like we are what we are. Like we have that, and we wear it on our sleeves, and we are whatever. I feel like men have it harder because since it's like, because of generations and because of just society, it makes you feel like you're a guy, so you got to keep it together. You can't, you can't show this to anybody. You got to like shove it down, like all your feelings, shove that shit down, like bury it in the back of the yard, forget that it ever exists. And it's like, no, that it shouldn't be like that. And then when men cry or men have a moment, like, they get ridiculed for it, and they're like, oh, you're being a pussy or whatever. And it's like, so yeah, definitely women have it easy in that sense. Definitely women have it because we're just able to be more open emotionally. Life is a balance with everything, and I feel like men and women both, they need that like, whether you're being emotional with your friends, whether you're being emotional with a therapist, whether you're being emotional with a family member or with your girl, you do need to be able to have that, and it's harder for guys in that sense. Absolutely.
All right, so this next question, you don't have to answer it if you don't want, but I'll ask it and you tell me what you think. We're our brother and sister, but we can always talk about these.
Gross.
All right. What makes sex better? What makes you want to be with a guy sexually? If you don't have to go into detail if you don't want, but anyway, answer that if
you really want to know. Okay, so wait. Rewind. Okay, so you're asking me what makes sex better?
Hmm?
Okay, what makes sex better? For myself, I feel for most people and for women for sure, is an emotional connection. I'm not a big fan of one night stands, but if girl, you gotta get it, you gotta get it. Like I get it. You know, like we're freaking adults. But I feel like what makes sex more intimate, it's just like that intimacy that like women, we like to feel confident in our bodies, and like we want to just feel confident in general. If we feel confident and we feel like a guy is worshiping the ground we walk on, that makes us feel like in sex like we are like, because of society, women, we have a huge constantly in our faces we're getting told we're not pretty enough, we're not skinny enough, we're not young enough, we're not whatever, like, you know, it's always like this, like this constant thing like being thrown in our faces, like we need to be better, we need to look better. So we have all these self-image issues, right? And so when we're having sex and we're not being able to just feel confident in ourselves, sex is like subpar. If we're with a guy who makes us feel like we are the most beautiful, like Cleopatra walking in the goddamn room, you know what I mean? And they just make us feel kind of like that safe, like they're not going to judge us, then we're able to open up and actually have like a good time, orgasm, we're able to do all that. If a guy does not produce that for us, it's hard. It's hard, at least for me. It is for me to be able to enjoy sex, unless I'm like hammered, drunk, and just horny. It doesn't do it for me personally.
You know what? I think you're right, and I think it's the same with guys, whether they want to admit it or not. I mean, I think having an emotional connection makes sex way better. I mean, in both females and males. Guys are a little more robotic in that they can have sex with anybody for any reason, but I think but I think having an emotional connection makes it even more like, makes you more attached to that the partner, and it makes sex feel like amazing because it's like it's like a goal that you accomplish, so yeah, so I would agree with that. And
so mechanical, what do you mean by that? Let's get into specifics here. I want to know.
I think men can have an easier time, like they can have sex with anybody because all they're looking for is like that that goal, that accomplishment of like being with a woman,
finishing, right
finishing, like, but I think but as a guy that's emotional myself, I feel like being in a relationship and having that attachment makes it even like more fun and more thrilling,
yeah, because I feel like you're both like wanting to give to each other, right? And it's like
right.
more fulfilling when you know that the other person is enjoying it just as much as you are. So it's like it's definitely, I like that, the fact that you were able to point that out in men too, because I feel like, yes, I feel like for the most part, men can just have sex just to like bust a
nut, yeah.
And you can like focus on a body part. By the way, girls, I've heard that like men, when they have sex and they are just like focusing on one aspect of a girl, whether that's her butt or whatever, like they're just focused like on that, like they're more visual, and we're more like about like, I guess, connection or whatever, but they're more visual creatures. So, but like to hear that guys actually do also enjoy that connectivity when you guys are having sex, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. So
you're though, because you're a nice person, but
well, I
every guy, but
I think it's like imagine having sex in order to like procreate or have a baby, and that's such a powerful emotional you have such a powerful emotional connection to a woman because it's meant to be something like almost miraculous, having a child. So right. I would imagine that's like the best type of sex, in my opinion.
Right. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Give me one sec. All right. So do you think it's important for guys to be in touch with their feelings? Do you find that makes a guy unattractive?
Absolutely not unattractive. If you're not in touch with your feelings, you're not attractive to me. It's 2022. Like, get some fucking therapy. Seriously, it's ridiculous. Yeah, you should be in touch with your feelings. Should you be like overly like sensitive or you know, pandering to women, like, because there's a lot of guys that do that. They pander to women to get in their pants too. Or just to get the attention, and they're like super sensitive, but they're really not. Yes, like at the end of the day, is it good for a guy to be in touch with their feelings? Absolutely. If you have emotional intelligence, you'll be able to read a lot of situations in a relationship. You'll be able to understand a lot of things. You'll be able to have a good way of, like, you know, conflict resolution when you guys get into fights. You'll be able to understand a person better. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
And that's super, absolutely. A guy
do you find it important for a guy to be like that?
Yes, that's probably the most important in a relationship, honestly. Yes, absolutely. Both of you.
What does that mean to you? Like, when I say in touch with your feelings, is that more like being sensitive, or is that more like just understanding where you're coming from? Being open with the woman and telling her how you actually feel. And is that like which one of the two?
Sensitive, no, because you can be overly sensitive because you're you know, you have a complex, or you're self-conscious about yourself. So sensitivity, like, people get that really mixed up with feelings. Like, yeah, a person who has, you know, who's open emotionally is sensitive, but there's vulnerability is a big one. Being able to be vulnerable is the biggest one, which is being able to kind of, like, you know, be like, you know what, I fucked up, or you know what, I am feeling this way. Like, you know, if we get into a fight, like, I understand where you're coming from. This is how it made me feel. Like, if you're able to have these conversations, if you're able to talk about things and, you know, just be open about how you feel, have very clear understandings and boundaries and stuff like that. Yes, I think that's extremely important. Being sensitive is being a person who gets offended by the smallest of things. So sensitivity, it's like it can be part of it, but that's not it. It's just being able to be vulnerable. That's what, you know, to me is really about, is being vulnerable.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay. All right. Next question. And then this is going to be our last question for today, because we've been going for about an hour.
All right.
And then an hour, yeah. And I haven't even gone through I've gone through like 10 questions so far. So,
okay.
All right. Last question. Actually, we might have time for 2 more questions. All right. What is the perfect first date in your opinion?
Ooh, perfect first date. I am a huge fan of a guy who tries something completely different. So typical first dates involve going to a restaurant, having a drink afterwards, blah. A person who's like up for like something different or unique, I feel like is super cool. Like, I don't know, it could be as stupid as like throwing you know, that like the what is it called?
Those hatchet.
Yeah, throwing hatchet, like going to something kind of like that. Going to, what is it called, Top Golf, where you get to like play something against a person. I feel like it's something where you get to do something with a person, and you get to be playful, and you get to kind of like banter a little bit, and I think that's really cool.
Okay. All right. Now, last question. We have a minute left, so we're gonna ask this, and then we're gonna head out. All right, this is a good one, and I wanted to ask you this because I wanted to get your take on it, and I don't know what you think about it, but what do you consider a slut, and would you say you've ever engaged in that type of activity? Now, what I'm saying is not necessarily dressing up like a slut. That's fine. Like, you can dress up like a slutty for Halloween, all that good stuff. That's fine. I'm talking about being a slut, like having a high body count, if that makes sense. Like, have you, first of all, what do you consider a girl that is a slut? And have you ever engaged in that type of activity and now you're like, I'm not into that anymore? Or like, are you like, hey, if it comes around, then it is what it is? What's your opinion on it?
First of all, I feel like everyone has had their slutty moments, and I feel like absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I feel like if anything, it's kind of hot when you're with somebody and they're, you're like doing the dirty like outside somewhere and just like kind of like random bathrooms and so like it's totally fine. I feel like that's super hot and like F yes, like, and I feel like all of us have that moment. As far as like high body count and what I consider a slut, like I don't really think that exists. I feel like there's a double standard there. I feel like women are held to such a higher standard when it comes to high body counts. However, men can have high body counts. And it's like, if you're a person who doesn't give a shit about that, then awesome. But if you're a guy and you're telling me that you give a shit about how many people I've been with, but then you have been with like hundreds and millions of girls because I'm got so many damn girls, it's like disgusting too then. Like the fuck? Just because you're a guy, that's totally fine. But if I do it, then that's not okay. As far as like what I think about like that, I personally have had my slutty moments, definitely. And I don't conduct myself that way anymore. I'm looking for more substance nowadays. So I'm looking for more of like an emotional, deeper connections. So I'm not looking for like a one night stand. However, when I was younger and I was like, fresh out of high school, like, of course I had those moments and not anymore. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. It's your fucking life, dude. At the end of the day, you do what makes you fucking happy. Is there trauma and everything behind being overly sexual? There can be. But then there are people who like kinks and stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to downplay people's like choices in life. And I'm not going to look at them differently because they choose to do things. Now, are they doing things that are making their lives harder, or if they're looking for love and just like being slutty and looking for that, that like need for love and stuff like that in the type of way, if it affects you that way, then yeah, that's a problem. But if you're doing it because you like to do it, then fuck it. Just do it, dude. Like,
do you think it's like a phase that women go through sometimes, or do you think it's or do you think some women are just like that way where they come off naturally like more slutty and are just like more slutty?
Both. I think a little bit of both. There are some people like that go through their slutty phases, and then there are some people that are like that until they're fucking old. If that is something that you enjoy to do and makes you happy, it doesn't ruin your life in any type of way, then more power to you. If it's something that's affecting you, your psyche, if you're looking for like, you have daddy issues, and you're looking for love and you're giving it up because then obviously that's something you should probably like see a therapist for. But I'm not one to judge, dude, so I don't see a problem with it. And I know the guy world is going to be like, oh, of course, like whatever, like whatever, like F them. I personally think if you do it, that's your problem. Nobody should judge you. It's your thing. You know what I mean? If it's not affecting you, your psyche, you're fine. Whatever.
Okay. All right. So that was the last question we're going to ask. It's been an hour and 3 minutes. So, Ina, thanks for coming on, and we're gonna hopefully do this again, and I'll ask the other questions that we didn't get to. And anything you guys want to tell us? Any opinions you guys have on? I fell asleep. Claire fell asleep. All right. Anything? We're boring. No, but anything if you guys want to comment or let us know what you think about what my sister said or what I said, and
hear anything new, like if you guys have any topics that you want us to discuss.
Yeah, any topics. Claire, if you have any topics that you can give us so we could talk about. Claire is she is a secular Quranistina, so she believes that that the Quran, the rules of the Quran should be implemented in the West. So she's very interesting. Very interesting person to talk to.
I like meeting new people and I like hearing different perspectives. So that would be interesting. I would love to like have questions about them. Absolutely.
All right. And thank you guys for joining us. Brother and Sister Podcast. We're out. Peace.